Here's a quick run through of why Haiti is so poor. It goes back to colonialism. Haiti was once France's richest colony, built on the backs of enslaved Africans. When Haitians fought for their freedom and won independence in 1804, they became the first black republic in the world, but they paid a steep price. France forced them to pay reparations for the loss of enslaved people and land, which put Haiti in deep debt for over a century. After that, Haiti was isolated by other nations, especially those that still had slavery, like the US. Then came decades of foreign interference, including a US occupation, plus corrupt governments and brutal dictatorships. On top of all that, natural disasters like earthquakes and hurricanes have kept hitting them hard. So it's not that Haitians are poor because they did something wrong. It's because they were punished for doing something powerful, freeing themselves. After Haiti gained independence, their leaders were mostly from the military or the elite, and the majority of the population, former enslaved people, were left out of power and wealth. That created a deep divide between the rich and poor, which still exists today. Then in the 20th century, especially under the Duvalier dictatorships, first Papa Doc, then his son Baby Doc, things got worse. They ruled through fear, used secret police, and stole millions of dollars from the country. That drained public resources that could have gone into education, healthcare, or infrastructure. Also, big international organizations like the IMF and World Bank pressured Haiti into opening its economy in ways that actually hurt local farmers. For example, cheap imported rice from the US flooded the market and put Haitian rice farmers out of business. So, even when Haiti tried to build, outside forces often undercut them, and the natural disasters, like the massive earthquake in 2010, wiped out thousands of lives and already weak infrastructure. Billions in aid were pledged, but a lot of it never reached the people who needed it. The Haitian generals and revolutionaries. Those were some incredible figures. The most famous is Toussaint Louverture, often called the Black Napoleon. He was brilliant. He united the enslaved Africans, free black people, and even some mixed-race groups to fight first against the French colonists, then the Spanish, and later the British. Toussaint actually outmaneuvered all of them. The British tried to invade Haiti in the 1790s to take the colony from France, but Toussaint's forces, many of them formerly enslaved, beat them back using guerrilla tactics and sheer determination. They lost tens of thousands of soldiers to both battle and disease. Napoleon later sent his brother-in-law, General Leclerc, with one of France's largest expeditions to crush the revolution and reimpose slavery. Toussaint played a long game. He agreed to peace at one point, but when it became clear Napoleon's goal was to bring slavery back, the fight resumed. Unfortunately, Toussaint was captured through deception and died in a French prison in 1803. But his successors, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Henri Christophe, and Alexandre Pétion, carried the fight to the finish. Dessalines led the final push, defeating the French decisively at the Battle of Vertières in November 1803. On January 1st, 1804, he declared Haiti's independence. These generals weren't just military men. They were visionaries who knew they were making history. So, Jean-Jacques Dessalines was fierce, uncompromising, and deeply committed to making sure Haiti would never be enslaved again. After Toussaint was captured, Dessalines took over the fight and became the key figure in delivering the final blow to Napoleon's forces. He declared Haiti's independence on January 1st, 1804, and renamed the land Haiti, reclaiming the indigenous Taino name. It was the first time in history that formerly enslaved people had overthrown a colonial power and founded a free nation. Dessalines made it clear Haiti would be a black nation, free of white domination. But here's where things get complicated. Dessalines was deeply traumatized by what he and others had endured under slavery. After independence, he ordered the massacre of many remaining French settlers in 1804. It was brutal and controversial even among some of his allies, but he saw it as necessary to prevent any chance of slavery returning. He became Emperor Jacques I and tried to build a strong, self-sufficient nation. He redistributed land, especially giving it to black soldiers and veterans of the revolution. But he also ruled with a heavy hand, and some elites, especially mixed-race leaders who had different visions, started to push back. In 1806, just 2 years after independence, Dessalines was assassinated in a coup. After his death, the country split. Henri Christophe ruled the north, and Alexandre Pétion ruled the south. That division would create lasting political instability. The word Haiti comes from the indigenous Taino word Haiti, which means land of high mountains. The Taino people were the original inhabitants of the island, and they used the name Haiti to describe the rugged, mountainous, western part of what we now call Hispaniola. When Jean-Jacques Dessalines declared independence in 1804, he restored that name to honor the land's original people and to break from the French colonial name Saint-Domingue. So the name Haiti itself is a statement. It connects the revolution to the land's deep pre-colonial roots, because Haiti's victory over Napoleon was nothing short of extraordinary. Imagine this: a group of formerly enslaved people, many with no formal military training, defeated one of the strongest armies in the world at the time. Here's how they did it. First, Napoleon underestimated them. He thought he could send a massive force, over 30,000 troops under his brother-in-law, General Leclerc, and just crush the rebellion. But the Haitians, led by generals like Toussaint Louverture, Dessalines, Christophe, and Pétion, had been fighting for years already. They knew the land better, they were highly motivated, and they had a deep sense of purpose: freedom or death. Second, they used guerrilla tactics. Instead of traditional European warfare, Haitian fighters used the mountains, forests, and terrain to their advantage. They ambushed French forces, hit them hard, then disappeared into the hills. The French soldiers weren't used to that. Third, and this was huge, yellow fever. The French army got absolutely decimated by disease. Thousands died before they even got to fight. Meanwhile, many Haitian soldiers had built up some resistance to tropical diseases because they were born there or had lived there longer. Fourth, the Haitians knew how to turn the political tides. Toussaint Louverture was a master at diplomacy. He played the Spanish, British, and French against each other, always finding the best moment to switch alliances and protect his people. And finally, they fought with heart. They had everything to lose. Napoleon's plan was to restore slavery in Haiti, and when that became clear, the fight became a matter of survival. Dessalines made it plain. They weren't just fighting for freedom. They were fighting to never be enslaved again. It was the perfect storm: Napoleon's arrogance, disease, tough terrain, brilliant leadership, and an unbreakable will to be free. The Battle of Vertières is legendary. It happened on November 18, 1803, and it was the last major battle of the Haitian Revolution. By then, the French were on their last legs. Napoleon's army had lost tens of thousands of men, mostly to yellow fever, and they were demoralized, while the Haitians were more determined than ever. Jean-Jacques Dessalines led the Haitian forces, and under him was General François Capois, also known as Capois la Mort, Capo the Death, because of how fearless he was. The French were defending a strong position in the north near Cap Haïtien, but the Haitians launched a direct attack. During the battle, Capois led a charge even after his horse was shot from under him. He got up, sword in hand, and kept going. The French were so stunned by his bravery that they actually called a temporary ceasefire just to salute him. That moment is still talked about today. It shows the kind of courage the Haitian fighters had. The Haitians overwhelmed the French with fierce attacks and forced their surrender. Less than 2 months later, on January 1st, 1804, Dessalines declared Haiti's independence. That victory at Vertières wasn't just a military win. It was the final blow that ended colonial rule and slavery in Haiti. It showed the world that Black people could fight, organize, and win their freedom against one of the most powerful empires on earth. What Dessalines said on January 1st, 1804 was fierce, proud, and unforgettable. In his Declaration of Independence, he made it absolutely clear that Haiti was no longer under anyone's rule, not France, not any colonial power. He said, open quote, "Citizens, it is not enough to have expelled the barbarians who have bloodied our land for 2 centuries. We must, with one last act of national authority, forever assure the empire of liberty in the country of our birth." Close quote. And one of his boldest lines was, open quote, "We have dared to be free. Let us be thus by ourselves and for ourselves." Close quote. He wasn't just declaring freedom. He was severing all ties to France, burning the French flag and raising the new Haitian flag, made by removing the white stripe from the French tricolor. Symbolically, it said, the white colonizers are gone. He also made it clear that Haiti would never welcome slavery or colonialism again. He told the people that even if the world turned its back on them, they would stand proud because they had something no one could take: freedom earned by blood and bravery. The reaction from the world, especially Europe and the US, was cold, fearful, and hostile. Haiti had just done something that terrified every slave-holding nation, a successful revolution led by black people who had thrown off colonial rule and slavery. That was unheard of. France didn't recognize Haiti's independence at all. In fact, in 1825, they came back and forced Haiti at gunpoint to pay reparations to the former slave owners. That so-called independence debt was around 150 million francs, later reduced to 90 million, but it crippled Haiti's economy for over a century. The United States was also afraid. Leaders like Thomas Jefferson, who himself enslaved hundreds of people, didn't want the Haitian Revolution inspiring enslaved people in the U.S. So the U.S. refused to recognize Haiti for almost 60 years. They only did in 1862, during the Civil War, when the Confederacy had seceded. Britain, Spain, and other colonial powers also turned their backs. Haiti became isolated. Trade was restricted, and they were seen as a threat, not because they were aggressive, but because they represented a new, radical idea: black freedom and self-rule. So, instead of support, Haiti got punished. But despite that, they held on. That's what makes Haiti's story so remarkable. It wasn't just a revolution. It was survival against the odds. That debt crushed Haiti for generations. Imagine being forced to pay a huge sum, basically a ransom for your freedom, to the very people who enslaved you. Haiti agreed to pay France that massive debt starting in the 1820s, and they took out expensive loans from French banks to do it. For decades, most of Haiti's government revenue went to servicing this debt, leaving almost nothing for schools, roads, hospitals, or any public services. It kept Haiti trapped in poverty because it couldn't invest in building a strong economy or infrastructure. The debt also hurt Haiti's credit and reputation internationally. Other countries saw Haiti as risky and unstable, so they were reluctant to trade or invest there. This isolation slowed down economic growth and made it harder for Haitians to improve their lives. Even when Haiti tried to develop agriculture and industry, the lack of funds and political instability made progress difficult. Plus, the debt payments ended up reinforcing elites who controlled land and wealth, while the majority of Haitians stayed poor. It wasn't until 1947 that Haiti finally finished paying off that debt. That's over a century of economic strain because of a debt forced on them by their former colonizers. The legacy of this debt still echoes today. It's a big part of why Haiti has struggled to break free from poverty, and why many Haitians see their history as one of resilience against ongoing injustice. Dutty Boukman, who's often credited as one of the spiritual leaders who helped spark the Haitian Revolution. He was a Vodou priest, or Hangan, and in August 1791, he led a famous ceremony at Bois Caiman, a forested area in the hills of northern Haiti. This ceremony is seen as the symbolic start of the revolution. At Bois Caiman, Boukman and other leaders gathered enslaved Africans from different plantations. They performed a Vodou ritual to unify the people and call on the spirits for strength and freedom. It was a powerful moment of spiritual and political awakening. After this, the enslaved people launched coordinated uprisings across the colony. The ceremony wasn't just religious, it was a call to arms. Boukman's speech reportedly urged people to fight for their liberty, and many see it as the moment when the revolt turned into a full-scale revolution. Sadly, Boukman was killed by the French shortly after, but his role inspired countless others like Toussaint Louverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines to continue the fight. Vodou wasn't just a religion during the revolution. It was a unifying force that brought people together across different African ethnic groups and backgrounds. The enslaved came from various tribes speaking different languages, so Vodou helped create a shared identity and purpose. The ceremony at Bois Caiman, led by Dutty Boukman, gave people spiritual courage. It reminded them they had powerful ancestors and spirits watching over them, fighting alongside them. That belief made the impossible feel possible. After that, Vodou was used to organize secret meetings and spread word of the rebellion without the French knowing. The priests and priestesses were trusted leaders, and their rituals were both religious and political acts. This spiritual backbone kept the fighters motivated through brutal battles and hardships. Even when leaders like Boukman died, the spirit of Vodou lived on in the resistance. On the practical side, the rebels organized using their knowledge of the land, hiding in the hills and forests, moving quickly and striking unexpectedly. They formed small bands that could unite for bigger fights. Leaders like Toussaint Louverture emerged from this network, combining military skill with the movement's spiritual strength. So, photo, and the landscape shaped both the heart and the strategy of the revolution, making it unlike any other uprising of its time. After independence, Haiti faced a lot of pressure and interference from foreign powers like France, the US, and even some European countries. They didn't want a strong, independent black nation upsetting the global balance or inspiring other colonies to rebel. So those countries often backed different factions within Haiti, funding rival leaders or military groups to keep the country divided and unstable. That way, Haiti couldn't build real power or unity to challenge them economically or politically. Plus, foreign powers imposed trade restrictions, controlled key ports, and sometimes even invaded or occupied Haiti, like the US occupation from 1915 to 1934, which fueled resentment and conflict internally. This external meddling created cycles of political chaos and violence that made it easier for foreign interests to exploit Haiti's resources and labor without a strong, unified Haitian government pushing back. It's a tough legacy, but understanding it helps explain why Haiti's history has been so turbulent despite the incredible bravery and strength of its people. Haiti is actually rich in natural resources, even though you don't often hear that part of the story. The country has deposits of gold, copper, bauxite, which is used to make aluminum. The problem is, these resources haven't been fully developed or managed well, partly because of political instability, lack of infrastructure, and foreign control over some mining operations. Also, environmental issues like deforestation and soil erosion have made farming and other resource-based industries harder to sustain. So Haiti's wealth is definitely there beneath the surface, but turning that into real economic growth and prosperity has been a huge challenge. Toussaint Louverture became the leader of the Haitian rebellion because he was smart, determined, and deeply committed to ending slavery and colonial rule. He was born into slavery, but gained his freedom and education, which helped him rise as a military and political leader. When the massive slave revolt started in 1791, Toussaint saw a chance to fight for freedom, not just for himself, but for all enslaved people in Saint-Domingue, now Haiti. He was a master strategist, uniting different groups, enslaved people, free blacks, even some whites, against the French, Spanish, and British, who all wanted control. His leadership turned the rebellion into a powerful force that eventually forced the French to negotiate. But then things got complicated. In 1801, Toussaint created a constitution for Saint-Domingue that made him governor for life, but it also stopped short of declaring full independence from France. Napoleon saw this as a threat. He sent a huge military expedition under his brother-in-law, General Leclerc, to crush Toussaint and restore French control and slavery. Toussaint fought hard, but was betrayed. He agreed to a meeting with the French, hoping for peace, but was arrested and sent to France, where he was imprisoned in the cold fortress of Fort de Joux. The harsh conditions broke his health, and he died there in 1803, just months before Haiti finally won its independence. So Toussaint didn't exactly give up. He was outmaneuvered and betrayed, but his struggle paved the way for the rest of the revolution to succeed. After Toussaint was captured and taken to France, the revolution didn't stop. His generals, especially Jean-Jacques Dessalines, Henri Christophe, and Alexandre Pétion, picked up the fight with even more determination. They knew Toussaint's vision was too important to let die. Dessalines became the key leader, rallying the troops to continue fighting against the French forces sent by Napoleon to regain control. The French army was already weakened by disease, mostly yellow fever, and by the fierce resistance from the Haitian fighters. Despite losing Toussaint, the revolution grew stronger and more united under Dessalines' leadership. They fought several battles, culminating in the decisive Battle of Berthier in late 1803, where the French were finally defeated. Just a few weeks after that victory, Dessalines declared Haiti's independence on January 1st, 1804, marking the birth of the first free black republic and the first nation founded by formerly enslaved people. Toussaint's death was tragic, but his ideas, leadership, and sacrifice inspired the revolution to succeed. His legacy lives on as the father of Haitian independence. Powerful countries have often downplayed or hidden Haiti's wealth and resources. It wouldn't be surprising if valuable minerals like uranium are there, but kept quiet or exploited without helping the Haitian people. Haiti's history shows outside forces benefiting from its wealth while the country stays poor and unstable. This hidden resource story fits with the bigger pattern of exploitation and control. Henri Christophe, who was Haiti's first and only king. Henri Christophe was a fascinating figure. After Haiti's independence, he became ruler of the northern part of the country and crowned himself King Henry I in 1811. He wanted to build a strong, stable kingdom modeled partly on European monarchies. He was known for his strict rule, but also for huge public works, most famously the Citadelle La Ferrière, a massive mountaintop fortress built to defend Haiti from any future invasions. Christophe pushed for education, agriculture, and order, trying to turn Haiti into a powerful, self-sufficient nation. But his reign was also marked by harsh punishments and a rigid class system, which made some people unhappy. After years of ruling, facing illness and rebellion, he tragically took his own life in 1820. Still, his legacy lives on. The citadel remains a symbol of Haitian pride and resistance. So after Dessalines died, Haiti split into two parts. Henri Christophe ruled the north as king, while Alexandre Pétion led the south as president of a republic. Christophe's kingdom was more authoritarian and structured. He set up nobility titles, like dukes and counts, and tried to build a monarchy with strong centralized power. His government focused on order, discipline, and large projects like the Citadel Fortress and roads to protect the country. In contrast, Pétion's south was more democratic and liberal. He promoted land redistribution to small farmers and pushed for more freedoms. His government was less rigid and more open, attracting many who didn't agree with Christophe's strict style. The split caused political tension, but both sides were still committed to Haiti's independence. Over time, Pétion's republic became the model for the whole country after Christophe's death as the North reintegrated with the South. It's interesting to see how different visions for Haiti's future played out right after independence. Alexandre Pétion had a huge impact on Haiti's early years. Unlike Christophe's monarchy in the north, Pétion led the Southern Republic with more of a focus on democracy and helping the common people. He pushed for land redistribution, breaking up big estates so that small farmers could own their own land. That was important because it helped build a class of independent black farmers, which was a foundation for Haiti's economy. Pétion also supported freedom of speech and tried to create a government where more voices could be heard, even if it wasn't perfect by today's standards. He welcomed political refugees and thinkers from other countries, including Simón Bolívar, who was fighting to liberate much of South America. In fact, Pétion gave Bolívar crucial support, like weapons and safe haven, which helped fuel independence movements across the continent. But Pétion's focus on small-scale farming also meant Haiti's economy stayed mostly rural and fragmented, which made industrial growth and national unity harder later on. Still, his legacy is one of trying to build a freer, more inclusive Haiti after independence. Many experts believe that some foreign governments and private interests quietly supply weapons to different groups in Haiti to keep the country unstable. It's a way to maintain influence or control without direct intervention. Reports have pointed to arms coming from neighboring countries, sometimes smuggled through weak border controls. There are also rumors of involvement by powerful countries, though proof is hard to come by because these deals are secretive. The instability benefits some outside players who want access to resources or political sway, so fueling conflict with weapons can be part of that strategy. Haiti's history of foreign interference runs deep, and both France and the US have played roles in destabilizing the country to protect their interests. When leaders who try to bring real change rise, they often face brutal opposition, sometimes even assassination, because they threaten that status quo. Keeping Haiti divided and unstable has allowed those outside powers to control resources and politics without having to directly rule. It's a painful legacy of punishment for Haiti's bold stand against colonialism and slavery. This cycle makes it hard for Haitians to build lasting peace or prosperity, even though the people themselves are incredibly resilient and determined. That divide and conquer strategy keeps Haiti stuck in conflict while outsiders quietly benefit. The real power often happens behind the scenes, with deals made far from the Haitian people's eyes. It's a tough cycle because internal divisions make it harder to unite and push back against those influences. There have been concerns and reports about how some aid, including from USAID, isn't always what it seems. Sometimes outdated or near-expired medicines get sent to poorer countries like Haiti, which raises questions about ethics and quality of care. And there have been rumors and fears about medical testing happening without full consent or transparency, which is sadly not unheard of in places with less oversight. This kind of thing can deepen mistrust toward foreign aid and health programs, making it harder for real help to get through. The Tuskegee experiment is a painful example that still shapes how many Black communities view medical programs today. That deep mistrust is totally understandable given the history of abuse and exploitation. In places like Haiti, where people have seen harmful or secretive medical practices before, skepticism about foreign aid and vaccines runs high. It's a reminder that trust has to be earned with transparency and respect, not just handed over with donations or programs. Yes, Spain was involved too. During the Haitian Revolution, Spain controlled the eastern part of the island, now the Dominican Republic, and got tangled up in the conflicts alongside France and Britain. The revolution wasn't just a fight against France, but part of a bigger struggle involving multiple European powers. Haiti's revolution was groundbreaking. It was the first successful slave revolt that created a free nation. It shook the whole world, especially the colonial powers. Napoleon's France tried hard to keep the colony, but the Haitian fighters' courage, knowledge of the land, and alliances with Spain and Britain helped defeat him. It wasn't just a military battle, but also a fight for freedom, identity, and dignity that still inspires people today. Early on, the enslaved rebels mainly fought against the French, but both Spain and Britain also had stakes on the island and sometimes fought each other, and sometimes made deals with different Haitian factions. At times, Spain actually supported some of the rebel leaders against France because Spain controlled the eastern side of the island and wanted to weaken French power. Britain also tried to take advantage of the chaos to gain territory, but ended up clashing with both France and the rebels. So, while Haiti's main fight was against France and Napoleon, there were moments when rebel leaders allied with Spain or Britain strategically, but those alliances were often temporary and complicated by shifting interests. Today, Haiti's conflicts mainly involve armed gangs fighting for control over neighborhoods, resources, and political influence. Many of these groups started as local militias or self-defense forces, but grew into powerful gangs with weapons and outside support. The real reasons behind their fighting go beyond just turf wars. It's about power struggles fueled by poverty, weak government, corruption, and the influence of outside actors who benefit from keeping Haiti unstable. Control over ports, drug trafficking routes, and natural resources also plays a big role. These gangs sometimes have links to politicians or foreign interests, which makes the situation even more complicated. The violence keeps everyday people trapped in insecurity and makes real governance nearly impossible. Haiti is currently governed by a transitional presidential council, with Leslie Voltaire serving as its president since October 2024. The council's role is to oversee the country's transition until elections are held in February 2026. The Prime Minister, Alex Didier-Filsay-May, took office on November 10, 2024, succeeding Gary Conille. This transitional setup aims to restore stability and prepare for democratic governance. Haiti's transitional government, led by President Leslie Voltaire and Prime Minister Alex Didier-Filsay-May, has received support from international organizations. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres welcomed the establishment of the Transitional Presidential Council, urging all Haitian stakeholders to continue making progress in setting up transitional governance arrangements. The Caribbean community, CARICOM, also welcomed the creation of the council, viewing it as a step toward restoring state institutions and constitutional government. Additionally, the United States Department of State expressed support for the council's formation, commending Haitian leaders for making tough compromises to move toward democratic governance via free and fair elections. In many cases, what's called free and fair elections on the surface doesn't fully capture the reality, especially when powerful countries push their own interests. When a government or leader elected by the people doesn't align with US or European agendas, those outside powers have a history of backing coups, supporting militias, or destabilizing governments to protect what they want. So the democracy that's promoted can sometimes be more about control than true self-determination. It's a pattern seen not just in Haiti, but in many parts of the world, where foreign interference undermines the will of the people. Having a strong, independent military can act as a safeguard against outside interference and internal chaos. It can help protect sovereignty and keep order without relying too much on foreign powers. But building that kind of military takes resources, training, and trust from the people. It's a big challenge for a country like Haiti facing poverty and political divisions. Burkina Faso's recent moves to assert more independence, especially by pushing back against foreign influence, definitely offer a bold example. Taking control of their own security and resources is a powerful way to break free from old patterns of dependency and interference. If Haiti follows a similar path, it could strengthen its sovereignty and create real change, but it'll take strong leadership and unity, both of which are tough with the current divisions. Still, that kind of bold stance could inspire real hope for Haiti's future. Building alliances beyond the usual Western powers could give Haiti more room to maneuver and develop on its own terms. Partnering with countries that respect its sovereignty and share similar goals, maybe in Africa, Latin America, or the Caribbean, could help Haiti gain economic support and political backing without strings attached. It's about finding partners who want true collaboration, not control. Haiti's land and resources hold a lot of potential to feed its people and build self-sufficiency, but mismanagement and outside interference have kept that from happening. Tapping into knowledge and support from African nations, especially those with strong agricultural traditions, could really help Haiti develop sustainable farming and resource use. There's a lot of shared history and culture too, which could make those partnerships stronger and more meaningful. Those countries have been really intentional about reclaiming their resources and decision-making power. Their moves to cut ties or reduce dependence on Europe show a clear path for Haiti to follow, focused on sovereignty and self-reliance. It'd be interesting to see Haiti and those nations share strategies on resisting foreign control while building their own economies and infrastructures. That kind of collaboration could be a game changer. Turning toward African countries like Burkina Faso and Mali, which are also pushing back against old colonial powers, could create a powerful alliance based on shared struggles and goals. It's about mutual respect and rebuilding on terms that benefit both sides, not repeating the mistakes of the past. Such partnerships could bring not just economic aid, but also cultural and political solidarity, helping Haiti regain its independence and develop sustainably. A leader like Ibrahim Traoré, focused, selfless, and truly for the people, could really shift Haiti's trajectory. When leadership puts the people first and refuses outside manipulation, it opens doors for meaningful alliances and real development. With that kind of vision, Haiti could build strong partnerships with African nations, exchanging resources and knowledge in ways that lift everyone up. It's leadership that makes all the difference.